We have to talk about CeeDee Lamb, guys, in the Cowboys offense.
guy Yates,
Because your guy Yates.
He's still your guy?
In the box score,
Yeah.
7 catches for 110 yards looks lovely, but it feels like it should have been so much more.
My friend Ian Hartitz at Fantasy Life tweeted out, CeeDee Lamb just had the worst 7 for 110 game in NFL history, which is true. Yeah. Which is true.
I mean, they win the game if a couple more catches on those
one
drops.
of them. The long
one was the ultimate difference maker, but man, to have 3 drops in that short.
The last one, I'm not going to penalize it.
The one that he had, that he dove out.
Yeah.
Again, an elite wide receiver makes that catch, but that was a tough one for sure.
The one before he should have caught.
The one before on this, that was bad. And there was another one, like, wasn't it the one that was up top that like just hit him in the hands that went through that would have. Because the Cowboys had stopped, they'd fumbled the ball, Eagles get the ball back, they come back from the weather delay, they stop the Eagles.
Yes.
So Eagles, in theory, have momentum, although the weather delay sort of killed it. But they get a stop, they get a 3 and out. And now can the Cowboys go down and score? And CeeDee Lamb would have, that one would have kept that drive alive. And maybe they kick a field goal or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They just drive killers, 100%. And just, listen, I love my guy Yates, but those are catches you have to make if you're an elite wide receiver, which is what he is paid to be. To his credit, though, he would agree with me. He took full responsibility in the post-game comments and just said, I have to make those plays and, just whatever, just a bummer. But for us in the world of fantasy football, he put up numbers. Okay. 7 for 110, you'll take that every day.
Here's my take. Everyone should try trade for CeeDee Lamb this morning because last night, forgetting the drops, he looked amazing. He absolutely destroyed Adoree Jackson. He looked as explosive as he's ever been, and we're going to get to his quarterback. His quarterback looked phenomenal. George Pickens is like the ideal foil for CeeDee Lamb because George Pickens is very good. George Pickens takes attention. He's someone that you have to respect. He creates space for CeeDee, and also George Pickens is ideal because he's a very good wide receiver. He plays the X role, and so CeeDee can go into the slot more, and also George Pickens is not going to get 11 targets per game. It's just not going to happen.
He's never been that guy.
It's the perfect guy to put next to CeeDee. I think there is a very good chance on what I saw last night with how good Dak looked, how good the offensive line looked, how bad the defense is probably going to be. I think that there is a very good chance, I honestly might even make him the favorite, that CeeDee Lamb finishes as the number 1 receiver in fantasy because he just went 7 for 110 against one of the best defenses in football, even without Jalen Carter, and he left 90 yards on the table.
Right, it should have been 10 for 170.
Yes, exactly.
An absolute monster game. So I think I come out of last night thinking CeeDee is just going to go scorched earth on the league.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with all those takes, and I do. Me, I haven't always been the biggest Dak Prescott fan, but I agree with you. He looked phenomenal last night. They should have won that game. They had that game.
Lean, ripped. Yeah, he's just looking in a good spot physically.
Finally moving well, and just the accuracy was on point.
Yeah. Talking to some of the guys on Football Night, they all noticed, that they think he lost about 15 pounds just to the eye test. That
he looked different.
Looked a little, shredded,
like a young Matthew Berry.
Like a young Matthew Berry out there. Certainly we have the same hair. But Dak looked great and deserved a better fate than he got. Unfortunately, the drops just absolutely killed him. But, 11 different attempts of 15 or more yards. They were throwing it down, not only throwing it a lot, but throwing it down the field. And so, it doesn't show up in the box score because they had the 2 rushing touchdowns with Javonte and everything like that. So he finishes with under 8 fantasy points. To me, the better trade is to trade for Dak Prescott.
Because you probably can.
Because, who's giving up CeeDee Lamb? The drops were bad, but, he's still 7 for 110.
Yeah,
and anyone that has him used a top 5 or 6 pick on him most likely.
You got to ride it out.
So I think you would have to pay a lot to get CeeDee Lamb. Not saying it's not worth it, but I do think Dak Prescott is gettable, and I do think Dak Prescott's going to finish the year as a top 10, top 8 fantasy quarterback. It was just a bad game in terms of, they're not going to play the Eagles every week.
Yeah, I think with Dak, Dak wasn't good last year, and that was a big reason why his ADP was suppressed this year, not just coming off the injury, but before he got hurt, he didn't play well. And there were 2 ways to look at that. One, it's all right, he's kind of getting older, he's on the other side of 30, he's had a lot of injuries, maybe he's just entering the other phase of his career. The other way to look at it was, CeeDee had the contract thing last year, coming into the season, disrupted preseason, wasn't really himself the first couple games. There was no real great receiving option alongside CeeDee. Offensive line was in flux with 2 new rookies starting there. And also the McCarthy offense just went stale. Not a lot of motion, not a lot of play action. It felt like Dak just wasn't getting helped in the offense.
Sure.
Now, looks like he might actually be getting help outside of the drops that cost him the game. So I think that Dak, very within the range of outcomes, that he's like a top 8 fantasy quarterback, and he's just the guy that he was in 2023 when he finished second in MVP.
Yeah, I think he'll certainly earn more defensive attention, and I think things will open up for George Pickens. If there's a positive here, I get it, 3 for 30 on only 4 targets, but played 91% of the offensive snaps. He averaged 13 yards per air target. So, I mean, they were taking deep shots to him. Those will start hitting. They'll take more, and those will start hitting, especially as CeeDee Lamb just continues to get so much volume here. The last thing I'll say, Connor, is sort of interesting. Jake Ferguson, 5 for 23, 18% target share. An 18% target share for a tight end is borderline tight end 1 material.
And could add a touchdown.
12, yeah, exactly.
Right. It's a pass that you expect him to catch more often than not. So Jake Ferguson, Dak loves him. I mean, we've seen it over and over again. And it goes back to your point, Jay. Pickens didn't come into this offense and kind of push aside the roles that already exist. He's filling one that they didn't know how to fill, right? Trading for Jonathan Mingo. And in all seriousness, now you just put Pickens in the X, CD in the slot, and Ferguson as a legitimate top 3 pass catcher in the offense. I mean, they're not going to be throwing to Javonte that much. Jaden Blue's not ready. There's something there. There's definitely something there.
George Pickens is Klay Thompson. He's running around setting screens, creating space for everyone else, and he's not going to hold the ball a ton.
Drew the DPI, which is a big call.
I know. I'm a big believer that in fantasy football, I wish we could figure out a way to do this. Like, you should get like half the points.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like, if you draw a DPI, like whatever, George Pickens got whatever it was, 50 yards, 45 yards on that DPI.
He had a hand inside his jersey.
Right, correct. And he almost caught it with one hand. Like,
really
he
close.
Came very close. So, like, that's 45 yards. Like, in theory, that should be, if he catches the ball, it's 5.5 fantasy points. Like he should get 2.5
right.
for that.
You got a point for a DPI.
It's harder to do it. Also, if you forget about it, like CD got mugged in the end zone by Adoree Jackson, and like that could have been a touchdown as well.
Adoree Jackson.
But
Eagles did not look great overall, by the way.
no,
like,
they're
NFC
lucky to
is
get
wide
out.
open.
They're lucky to get out of there with a win. Like, Adoree Jackson's going to be a problem. Like, for the Eagles. Not for that's what I'm saying. Like,
start your receivers against Adoree Jackson.
100%.
Very clearly.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.